Hi Pisces, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your November 2022 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who like, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a cultural spread as always, and I also pulled the 4 agreements, wisdom, and the oracle, and Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off on Rogan's astrology ice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have Leo, and Leo energy for you guys is your 6th house of work, daily routines, health. Astrologically speaking, not really anything going on there, but it could be an area of focus this month. Alright, we have Saturn, and Saturn is actually in your 12th house, which points to spirituality, blind spots, mental health. And we have 3, so 3rd house is the house that represents communications, short journeys, siblings, and for you guys that's Taurus energy, and of course there's going to be a full moon eclipse in Taurus this month, so it could definitely be some significance around communications for you guys this month too. Alright, with all that out of the way, we'll get started with the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Emperor, the 9 of Swords, and challenging that we have the 5 of Cups. So for some of you, this could just be saying that you could just be feeling like your work lives might be a bit overwhelming for you guys at this time. So maybe you got elevated to a higher level within your career, for example, and with that comes a lot of responsibility, right? And then when you're actually in your home environment, you might find that it's hard to sleep, right? Or even just that because you're putting so much energy into your workplace, when you do get to your home environment, you don't really have time for anything else, right? You might feel like the second you lay your head on the pillow, you're back up and ready to go back to work again. And the challenge there could just be saying that because of this too, maybe some of your other connections have suffered, maybe your friendships, romantic relationships, you name it. So you could be looking back on it now, right? Like maybe thinking to yourself, okay, was this the right path for me to follow? All right, in the foundation position, we have the Hermit. So yeah, this is Virgo energy here, and another indicator that you guys just really could have been heavily focused on your work lives, right? Maybe being a bit secluded from your friends and family, right? Maybe they didn't really see you much because you were putting so much energy toward your careers. For some of you, this doesn't necessarily have to be career in general, but it does seem like there was something that you'd been working toward, and because of that, not really able to socialize, and I'm just feeling a bit isolated. All right, past energy, we have the 8 of Pentacles. So yeah, again, more Virgo energy here, right? We see that they're quite literally making their own money. So for some of you, this even could be an entrepreneurial thing that you guys are doing, right? And maybe you're just feeling a bit overwhelmed with that. So you might have thought, okay, this is the way I want to go, right? But now as that business starts to grow, maybe you're finding that you have too much that you need to take on by yourself. All right, in the present position, we have the Knight of Swords. So at least as of right now, it looks like you guys might still be trying to really take it on by yourselves. So that state of burnout that we saw potentially in the main situation, maybe you haven't gotten there just yet, right? But yeah, this looks like an energy of really just get up and go, right? Tackle your goals and just go after it. So it looks like at least in the present, you have the energy to take these things on. All right, in the near future position, we have the Star card. So yeah, for some of you, you might actually start to reevaluate the situation, right? So for example, Saturn came up, which is in Aquarius, and this is an Aquarius card, and that's your 12th house. So maybe now that Saturn will be moving direct through November, maybe that'll help you get some perspective on things too, right? To where you might realize, okay, yeah, maybe I was going a little bit too overboard with the goal that I had in mind, right? To where it was possibly making other areas of my life suffer a little bit. So maybe for some of you, this could represent a bit of a readjustment period. Now, the Star card, at least numerically, comes after the Tower card. So some of you might have even felt like you went through a Tower moment to get you there, but looks like you will be on the right path soon. All right, the position of your influence in a situation, quite a few cards came out. We have the Sun, the Queen of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the Nine of Pentacles. So yeah, and for some of you, this can be around possibly realizing that, okay, maybe you've been putting a lot of focus toward your careers, let's say, but now you might actually want to put some energy toward a romantic connection, right? But you still might be a bit closed off, right? Like, okay, like we see she's toward the edge of the water, but not really dipping her toes in, and we see that cup is closed off. Here with the Ace of Cups, we see a much different energy, right? But to me, the Ace is usually an idea of things, but I feel like it's saying that you might flirt with the idea a little bit of, yeah, maybe I should put myself out there, but I feel like you, at least as of right now, you're still more comfortable being in that independent energy and really just focusing more on your finances at this time. All right, in the environment position, we have the Two of Wands. So yeah, for some of you might still decide that you do want to put a lot of energy toward your work, but you might want to redirect that energy in some way, right? So, like I said, maybe if you were doing something that you just felt like you were spending too much time on it, you might find a new pathway that you want to go with your work, but still want to put a lot of dedication into it, right? So, it doesn't seem like it'd be a completely fresh start as far as freeing up a ton of time for you, but it seems like you're like, okay, maybe I've gone about as far as I can in this direction. Maybe it's time for me to try something new, but I don't necessarily see that you wouldn't dedicate as much time into it. It's just that you're possibly looking for something fresh. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Eight of Cups. So this could be a fear for some of you, right? Because this is the Pisces card, and it could just be saying that maybe you've stuck with this for this long because you put in so much time toward it, right? So you might have had a fear of like, okay, well, what happens now if I do leave this thing behind? But right, like I feel like I'm starting from scratch, right? Kind of like where we were talking about the Two of Wands energy. So for some of you might have had a fear around leaving it behind, but it could just get to that breaking point where it might just burn you out. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Five of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. So for some of you, we did talk about that third house energy of communication, right? And how that's Taurus for you guys. This is a Taurus card here. And of course, the Page of Swords is another indicator of communication too. So it could just be saying that maybe if you had a falling out with someone, right? Like maybe I said you've been putting so much energy into your work lives, maybe your relationships with friends and family has fallen off a bit. So this could just be saying that maybe there's that chance there for you to try to repair those connections, right? Maybe that seems like you have a bit of a fresh set of eyes around the situation, right? Maybe realizing that you were approaching burnout. That could be the approach that you're taking there to say, all right, let me try to repair these connections. So that's what I see with that. And the bottom of the deck, we have Justice. So if nothing else, this does say to me that you will be able to find a pathway this month to strike a balance between, your work lives and your just health in general, right? The free time you have, the energy you have. So looks like you will be able to strike that balance this month. See what else comes to mind with this. And yeah, and if it comes down to having to reestablish balance within some kind of a relationship too, like I said, whether it's friendship, family, romantic, this is a good indicator there too. All right, so moving on to your Four Agreements card, we have Don't Make Assumptions, and it says Be Aware of Unconscious Assumptions. So let's see what this says. Okay, it says assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. So yeah, interesting message there. Especially given that we did see the third house come up, which, like we said, represents communication, and you have that full moon eclipse there. So it could just be saying that when it comes to communication, try to be as clear as possible around what you want, finding out what others want, right? So try not to leave any room for misunderstandings there. All right. And moving on to your Wisdom Oracle card, we have Chaos and Conflict. There's the artwork, and the number is 33. Let's see what it says. Okay, The essential meaning says disarray, being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. The oracle's message: opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control. Yet every storm passes, and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, and it does fit the theme of, again, the dice with the third house and us talking about how there's going to be an eclipse in your third house communication, so that could bring up some volatile energies. That's going to be around the 8th or 9th of the month, so just be on the lookout, especially those few days, for some potential miscommunication. All right, the relationship message says stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to prolong the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to higher ground? Soon the air will clear and you will be in a much better place than before, for the storm will have passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before, if you use this time constructively. So yeah, definitely a pretty positive message there. And it wasn't that long ago that we had a Mercury retrograde cycle that started in Libra actually and then moved into Virgo, which is your opposite sign. So maybe you guys had some strained relationships around that time as well. This could be saying that could be a time to clear those things up. All right, the prosperity message says circumstances appear to be chaotic, but everything that is happening now is in truth shaking things up so you can find a real path to your prosperity. Yes, it's a stormy time, and it feels as if there are opposing forces wherever you turn. Be reassured that there is divine purpose in this chaos. Everything that doesn't work is being taken from you, so the truest parts of yourself remain. The events occurring now are essential for your ultimate prosperity. This chaos is divinely inspired, even though it doesn't appear that way now. In time, you will know this to be true. So definitely a pretty positive message there, and that makes me think of the star card energy for sure, where, like I said, even if it feels like for you went through some kind of a tower moment, this star card shows me that you will be on the right path and you'll see what you're meant to see around the situation too. All right, and lastly, we have the Mudra for you guys. So this is your Mudra here. It's the Hamsi Mudra. The keyword for it is illumination. And there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says removes obstacles in one's life, eases depression and sadness, evokes feelings of lightness and laughter, benefits the lungs and large intestine, improves assimilation of nutrients and elimination of waste. So if that sounds like a Mudra thing can be beneficial for you guys, I'll put the name in the description of the video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.